New on Curiosity Stream.
From time to time, we have collisions between asteroids and the Earth.
We track them, we study them, we hope the big one never comes. Don't look up, it's Asteroid Rush. And alligators. They rarely get sick. They even outlasted the dinosaurs. Could they hold the secret to human longevity?
Their blood could have antibacterial applications.
Wade into the investigation on immortal alligators. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Most of us don't have this option for avoiding the in-laws, or more people would probably use it. 28-year-old woman asked for advice on Reddit after her fiancé pulled a fast one to get out of seeing the family. She hadn't seen everyone in a while because of the pandemic, so they planned a big family reunion type of deal. But her fiancé just didn't want to go, but he eventually agreed to, and he said he'd drive separately when he got done doing his thing. He'd be there. Cut to the actual party. She says he showed up on time, hung out with the family, seemed like he was having fun, but then she realized what was going on. Her fiancé has a twin brother who looks exactly like him. And he'd sent the brother there to fill in for him. She realized it was the twin, but didn't say anything until the party was over. She drove home, found her real fiancé sitting on the couch playing video games and acting like he'd just beaten her home from the event. She asked if he had a good time at the party, and he said yes. Then she confronted him and asked him the name of the cousin that he had just met. So he knew he was caught and just started laughing. She did not find this funny and kicked him out of the house. Now her family knows and hates him for it, but he says it was a harmless prank and is mad at her for making it a big deal. Now people online are telling her to just dump the guy, but either way.
So listen, man, if you're going to get married, a lot of things become a big deal.
I wonder how much he paid his brother, because that's not free.
Yeah, if I'm his brother, like, bro.
A few hours.
But the flip side of it, too, is because I'm not the actual fiancé, I'm going to be a little looser than my brother might be.
And if I found out that was the case, and I was a woman in this situation, and that's my fiancé's twin brother, and he puts me in this, I'm going to be like, look, we're going to go get a hotel room right now. We're going to throw down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to see the reaction, just to see what, because maybe he'd be like, okay.
It would have been interesting because she realized, and like you said, she didn't say anything. But if she's like, you know what, let's go outside and just make out her. Let's hop in the car for a quickie while my parents aren't paying attention. Just see what the brother would do. If he's like, okay, baby,
came on. When did you lie about yourself or who you are, or who were you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jim. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, vatos.
Hola.
Que dice? What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Man, I tune into you guys all the time. I've never called.
Appreciate it.
So here's a pretty good one for you. I've lived in Mexico, been in and out of there a bunch of times. If I'm not living there, I'm visiting there. I have extended family down there. And I was down there, I want to say 2005, 6, 7, something like that. And I was down there, and Sting came to town, and I constantly am being told I look like Sting. Other than being white and 6 foot tall and blue eyes and blonde hair, I see some of the resemblance, but not, dead on. It just isn't there. But whenever I go down south of the border, people just go nuts and think I'm Sting. Well, as it turns out, there was a concert, and it was the police, and so there we go. We go off to see the concert with my friends, and I'm the guy that always jumps the barrier and ends up right up front, and since the beginning of time. And so me and my friends did exactly that. By the way, we're grown men, and so anyway, we end up right up front, and all these people I start noticing are videotaping me.
Is this while the police are on stage?
I turn around and look at Sting. He's 8 feet from me. I turn around, look at the people. They all got their cameras on me. I'm going, what the hell? I start videotaping them. No way.
Did Sting, was he able to notice you?
Oh, he saw the whole thing. He was laughing. The whole thing was comical.
I've heard a couple good stories about him. As far as this was probably whenever Synchronicity came out, so maybe 1985, 84ish. I'm not sure.
Was it even that late?
The exact year, but either way. So my neighbor Denny Paluga He was the mayor.
That was his name?
Yeah.
Denny Paluga.
Denny Paluga is the mayor of Morgantown, right? So they have a mayor convention in Miami. So Denny goes down, and he's at a hotel, and it's one of the nicer hotels because all the mayors are staying in this hotel where the conference is and everything else. So at the time the police were on tour, they were doing a stadium tour for Synchronicity. They had been in Miami because that's where they were going to launch the tour. Typically when bands start to tour, they'll get to one corner or the other and then kind of work their way around and manage to get all the way around North America in one route or the other. They were starting in Miami. They were also able to practice in the stadium. So they were there a week before.
All right.
So Denny, he's not the kind of guy that goes a lot of meetings, so to speak. So he and his wife are enjoying themselves. They're at the pool bar. They're at the pool every day.
Right.
They're like, the hell with it, man. We're going to take advantage of this vacation. So Denny's wife, she starts striking up a conversation with a woman beside her. Those two, you know how vacations go. One of the two couples starts talking, hit it off. The next thing you know,
you're stuck in the forest.
You're out to dinner. You know what I mean? With a couple from Kansas City. You have no idea who they are. So it's kind of like that. So then Denny starts chatting up the husband. He's like, yeah, man, I'm Gordon. I'm in a band, so we're just kind of hanging out. We're going to play. And, Denny's like, yeah, all right, well, that's cool. So next day, same thing. Then they just start drinking, hanging out all day. They're really hitting it off, you know what I mean? And he says, hey, man, do you want to go to this concert Friday night? Now his wife is like, yeah, man, let's go see him play. Let's go see him play. Where are you guys playing at? And it was the old Dolphin Stadium.
Right.
The Orange Bowl is what they call it. You know what I mean? So they go to the Orange Bowl. They end up in a suite at the Orange Bowl.
Was he entirely unaware of who the police were before this?
Being a suite meaning club level underneath the awning of the concourse. It's still outside, but they serve you. That was the idea.
That's a big deal.
Back then. So that was like the nice. It wasn't enclosed with TVs and all that stuff. It was just you're covered and
like a club level.
You get waited on, pretty much.
Yeah.
So he sat there. He didn't know who the police were.
Are you kidding me?
He didn't know the band. He didn't know any, and so he gets back. And he buys like all of their music because they had such a great time together. Now he's a huge police.
Of course.
Fan. Now he knows everything about. He knows the drummer. He knows the bassist.
Did he stay in contact with him at all?
I don't think so. I think that was a one-offer. But
all right,
just kind of a crazy story. I'm like, I'm watching MTV at this age.
Yeah, of course.
The police are all over. Every video that I watch, and I just cannot wrap my head around the fact
that he had no idea.
It just wasn't his type of music. He was an oldies guy. He was a Motown guy.
Sure, but even
He's
at the point,
Paluga, you know what I mean?
But at the point that
like
you
Frank,
say,
you know what I mean? Like Dean.
But if you say, "Hey, do you want to see my band?" I expect you're going to say El Corazon. All right. If I have no idea. But you say, do you want to see my band? I say, you know what, man, we're having a great time. Sure. Where are you playing? And you say, Climate Pledge. I'm going to do some research because it's like, okay, I clearly have met someone who a lot of people like, right? So if I say, well, we're playing the Orange Bowl. Like, wait, what? Who are you, man?
Okay. Well, the funny part about it is back then.
You're right, but I bet you could easily run into like a couple dudes that are like an EDM duo, and you would have no idea.
I would have no idea, but again, if they said, hey, you want to see the show, and I say, and they say Climate Pledge, or whatever the hell the name of the baseball stadium is now, I would just, like, I need to do some research.
So here's what goes down. So my neighbor was kind of in between us all. He had a pool. And Bill also had a kegerator, so this was, and then kids all the same age, so this is ground central.
Right.
People hang out there quite a bit, especially in the afternoon. So he's telling the story. One of the guys is a general manager of a radio station, so he's like, Denny, how in the hell do you not know who the police are? He was looking forward to them coming to Pittsburgh because Dale, the manager, he'd already bought tickets with his group for when they were coming around.
Right.
They were all big police fans. So they don't believe Denny at first. And I'm all privy to this conversation, because I'm jumping in too, like, how do you not know who the police are? The 14-year-old kid with a big mouth.
Of course.
Just going after him. So about a week goes by, and we're all out again, and you see Denny Paluga, who is not a guy who would ever spend 5 minutes in the gym. Mm-hmm. He's not a guy who would ever, he is running up. It's basically a field between his house and, Bill's pool. And he's running, and it's Denny, and he's got a beer in his hand, and he's running. He's got something else in his hand. And he comes up, and he gone to the photo mat. All right. So a week later, now he's got his vacation pictures. Because we were convinced that he did not.
That he was lying.
Hang out with Sting. So he just drops it on the table like that, and he puts his hands on it, and he's like, pictures from my vacation. Sure enough, you start flipping through there, and it's like, I'll be damned, you guys are doing shots together. You know, you've got big fruity drinks, and they're like acting like they're best buddies.
Right.
They don't have shirts on with their arms around each other. You're like smiling and stuff. I'm like, oh my god! And then he's a hairy dude. You know what I mean? Like he's this big dude.
Denny Palooga. He's hairy, huh?
He's got the Italian horn, buried somewhere in that chest hair. I mean, they're all chummed up. I'm like, oh my god, you're not lying. When did you lie about yourself, or who you are, or who were you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Candy. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
I had a best friend. We volunteered at my elementary school for my daughter, and the vice principal one day came up and he mistook me for her, and I didn't correct him. I was honored, and I liked it. So the whole year he called me Mrs. Ball, and I just answered to it. And at the very last day of school, I had to go pick up my barfing child, and he was standing there, and they called her last name. He goes, "What's your last name?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, how come you let me call you that, Mrs. Ball, all year?" I said, "I liked it," and he was very confused. But I liked it. I had no other excuse, and he was okay then.
I mean, is the real Mrs. Ball, other than a fantastic name, is she somebody special to the school? I mean, do you get any perks from him thinking you're Mrs. Ball?
No extra perks. Nope.
You just liked being called Mrs. Ball.
All right.
I liked it.
Well, you had a ball.
I did have a ball.
Okay.
Would you have liked that nickname, say, if you were in high school?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Nope.
Just making sure. Yeah,
But just one ball.
Yeah,
One
just
ball.
Mrs. Ball.
When did you lie about yourself, or who you are, or who are you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
She was just lying a lot.
Yeah, just because she could. You got zero perks. Nothing changed.
Because I liked it.
Yeah, I like to enter to Mrs. Ball.
Man, that's so weird. Because if somebody calls me by the wrong name, it irritates the crap out of me.
Yeah, generally.
Oh, God, I did it the other day.
To who?
Oh, there's a bartender in Fremont,
Oh, no.
and my buddy and I both have a habitual habit of not getting names right. He's got this system now where he has notes in his phone, okay? So he'll put the bartender's name in the phone. So anytime we go somewhere, I'll start scrolling through. You know what I mean? Have we been here before? So anyway, we're at this bar that we regularly go to. So Ethan is the bartender, and he's a great guy. Now, I've known him for probably, at this point, 2 or 3 months as a customer.
Right.
That's about it. He's always busy, but
All right.
Ethan's the man. So
Is he?
we signed the bill one night, and he pulls me aside. He goes, "Hey, Miles, man, I just want to let you know, man, my name's Evan." Oh, God.
Jesus.
Like, God, it just, my buddy's the one who told me, yeah, that's Ethan.
So you went in real
Oh, yeah,
confident.
man. Oh, Ethan's man. Like, yeah, man, another shot, man, another beer. Man. Pulled me over, I was like, man, you just got to stop. It's Evan. I was just like,
I confused two bartenders for the same person.
I've done that before, too. I've done that before as well.
They're both they both look similar.
All right.
But one of them, I had spent time at a festival with her and her soon-to-be husband.
Okay.
So they both work at the same bar. So one day I'm in there for a couple drinks, and I just start going off on something, and she's like, that's not me. You're confusing me with... I was like, oh, my God, I am so sorry.
Yep.
Actually, I didn't get anyone's name
Right,
wrong.
I think that's worse. Like, I thought you were just the other person. I didn't even screw up your name.
Right.
My wife put together, it was like a going back to school kind of party or whatever it is, right? So this is toward the end of the summer. The kids are going to physically go back to school. So people hadn't seen each other in a while. That will be my defense of this. But this was less than a year ago at my home. So it's a nice day outside. Everyone's going to drink. We're going to grill all this stuff. And so I'd had a few beers. I'd smoked pretty tough. My wife's just like, hey, just keep yourself together and just be decent. I'm like, gotcha, man.
It sounds like our meeting today.
Gotcha. And so I open the door. I'm letting all these different people, hey, man, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, et cetera, et cetera. This one couple rolls up. They're very nice. And I put on my hand. I go, hey, man, it's good to see you guys. Glad you guys could make it. Name's Steve. And the guy gives me this really weird look. And I'm like, I've met you before, haven't I? He goes, yeah, our kids have been in class together for 4 years. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
My bad. So I started to find my wife, like, what is that dude's name over there? She told me.
Yeah.
He was a real nice guy, but she's like, yeah, you've met everyone here except one couple who was new to the school. She's like, you've met everyone here. How many other names do you know? And I'm like, honestly, maybe 15.
What you have to understand about the story is that we had a meeting today about the roast on Friday night, just kind of getting our stuff together, figuring out the situational stuff and the order of things, so to speak, and all that stuff. It's going to be a great night. But either way, at the end of the meeting, Ryan Castle, who is the boss, looks at all of us and says, And we knew he was talking to me and Steve. And he said, look.
He was only talking to me and you.
Just don't get too effed up before you get there.
Right.
I have put, this is Mike's responsibility to make sure
Mike.
do not get too effed up. And it's the same thing that my wife used to say before we meet up with our friends.
It's the same all the time.
It doesn't matter. If you're at a relative's house, I mean, it's the exact same speech. Dude, just don't get too messed up before blank.
It's like, look, you're not wrong to say that, but we both know you're going to be disappointed. This is all I ask you to accept.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm involved.
Sorry, man.
For no reason.
Sorry. We did not say, hey, put this on Mike and Castle decided.
They used to put it on Robin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
And she would follow us everywhere we went.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she would follow us 2 feet behind us in a casino.
Just to make sure.
What are you guys doing?
You know what we're doing. We're doing a shot.
But okay, just one. Just one. You know we can't just do one.
You know we're not going to do one. Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
I mean, it takes me a little time to finish this beer. You know it's going to be 2.
But that's our thing, man. Because we like booze. Years ago, there was a bar. I would not say what it was.
And I like to be employed.
I know. Let's see how this works, man. There's a bar downtown. Miles and I would frequent this place. We go on one particular night. The bartender who recognizes us says, "Oh, hey, fellas, tonight there's a private thing going on in the back, so the bar's actually closed to the public." So, oh man, that kind of sucks. And he goes, "All right, look, you did not hear this from me, but they have free booze out there." So Miles and I said, "Okay, what is this meeting?" And it was like, I don't know, agricultural or
no, it was lawn care.
Lawn care.
It was basically weed eaters, grass seed companies,
right? So, like Scott's, Toro, John Deere, all these reps are there. But they had free booze, music, and some light appetizers. All right, but they had those "Hello, my name is" stickers. So we each grabbed one. I think we wrote our real names.
We
did. And then we rolled in there, and I mean, it was like the angels wept because there is beer and booze everywhere, and you don't have to pay a dime.
They had those the guys and the girls with the buckets, and then some were making mixed drinks, and there was no lines. You could just walk up and grab a beer,
and it's all in the house.
Yeah.
So we rolled in, and these people are keeping it together because they are actually within their profession. Well, we're not. So our cover story.
Well, they probably have a convention the next day.
Right, they had responsibility.
I think that, we didn't. They might have been in the middle of it.
I mean, but so we rolled in, man, and we start crushing beer, okay? So, but because it is a convention of people in the same general industry, everyone's trying to meet each other. So our cover story was that we worked for Kimlon, and we were there. We could not divulge all the information, but we were very close to releasing a proprietary grass seed that only grew, what was it, like an inch tall, inch and a half?
Mike, here's what the story is, all right? Here's what happened, okay? We have this grass seed. It only grows an inch and a half. Oh. Unfortunately for us, we didn't get patent-wise, it really didn't stick. And then, for whatever reason, the big boys came in, the lawn boys of the world, the snappers. Well, they bought our patent so that we wouldn't be able to manufacture this inch and a half grass.
They sell lawnmowers, but we're negotiating with golf courses and all that for easier maintenance. And people are like, wow, man, that's
so what we had to do is we had to create a different hybrid strain. Mm-hmm. That wasn't exactly the same strain, and now we're going for the copyright on that seed because they've already bought the previous one and they're not privy to this information. Once this gets out here, though, those guys are going to be out of business, and it's not going to be good for them. So we're keeping it a little bit under the radar as far as the technology and what we're doing. But either way, no one will ever have to cut their grass again.
But people are fascinated and riveted about it, and we're keeping it together as we explain this. But every conversation kind of either was interrupted or ended with this, like, I'll tell you more. Hang on, man. I grab another beer. Well, by the end of the night, we are just pissed drunk, tripping over chairs. We are the most reckless people there.
And look, man, if you could make a grape taste like cotton candy, you can make a grass that only grows an inch and a half and stops. I'm sorry. Roses, you can make them any color you want, for the most part. Broccoli's not real. The banana you eat is not real. How hard could it be for me to never have to cut grass again? This is a logical idea.
And see, that's kind of how we
You can't do that, though.
What do you mean?
You know who would never allow it?
Who would never allow it?
Big Turf.
Oh, I know.
That was kind of our cover story. Yeah.
Well, we
are fighting for this, Ted. You shouldn't have to go out there and do all this lawn maintenance.
Knocking at our door. They wanted it for $300,000. That price is way too low. We didn't get the patent in time.
We'll tell you more. Let me get another drink.
I'll be right back.
Maybe another brand of lawn equipment.
I can't tell you what.
Snapper. Lawn Boy.
John Deere.
What about a Skag?
I don't remember Scott. Well, that must be a professional.
Professional.
I was going to say that's big time.
I would say Husqvarna's the other one.
Yeah. What did you lie about yourself?
I would have called you guys out quickly.
I know you would have.
Y'all don't know anything about grass besides smoking it.
Or who were you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill.
Our question, what did you lie about yourself or who you are, or who were you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Michael. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, hermanos.
Hola.
Hey, I'm a big fan. I just want to let you know, you get me through the daily grind every
We
day.
appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Good, man. Yeah.
My pleasure. So, back in my 20s, I was often confused for Hugh Grant.
That's not a bad thing.
Right? Yeah, back when he was...
All he did was rom-coms.
Well, I mean, like,
I was going to say.
that will endear you to the entire female population.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad thing.
Until you opened your mouth and they realized that you were not from England.
Yeah, sure enough. But in England, it served me well because they love an American accent.
Oh, so you went to England looking like Hugh Grant, but with an American accent. Wow.
Yeah. So when I was on a trip to London, I was hanging out with a roommate of mine from college, and we were just wandering around, and we saw a line to get into a club, and it was a membership-only club. And my buddy walked up and said he was my agent, and I was Hugh Grant's body double. And the bodyguard came over and talked to me for a second and said, yeah, you're in.
Really?
All right. And how did that work with the ladies? More importantly, I'm glad you got into the club.
Right. Did you keep
That's
up
fantastic.
the ruse? Right.
But there's more to this than just that, correct?
Oh, I got a lot of sideways looks, a lot of double takes. Yeah. And then, obviously, my accent gave me away.
But if you said, look, I'm his body double, look, the guy does rom-coms, or there's any nude scene, like, I'm the actual person you see.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I would think that'd work to your advantage.
That one movie where he jumped out of a car and rolled, that was me.
Yeah, you know, like, I do those things, you know, he's uncomfortable. Because there's a couple of actors and actresses, you know, like, they're in movies that have nude scenes, but the nude body you see is not theirs, right?
Right.
I still look at pictures of Elizabeth Hurley online when she'd post her stuff. I'm just like, oh my God, woman.
What was he thinking? All right, let me ask you this. Do you still look like Hugh Grant as you've both aged? Do you still roughly look like Hugh? No?
Not at all. No. I look way better.
Oh, you look better, boy. Okay.
There you go.
I hear you. All right.
Yeah, man.
All right, so not mistaken identity. Like, does it count if somebody doesn't know your name and they think they know you and you just play along with it?
It's still, yeah, because, I mean, it's still a little bit of deception, right?
Right, so Rob Thomas, right? A couple years ago, I get to go see his show at Chateau Show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So somebody we know works with a record label, and they're like, hey, like, come back here. Like, Rob wants to say, like, you can go see Rob because we had met him in here.
Yeah.
I'm like, go say hi. So I'm like, cool. But when you get, like, this is like his dressing room or like where they're all going to hang out. So she's like, hey, just wait right here. I got to go down and check on him. Then when I come back, I'll walk you in. I'm like, cool. But so a brother from Rob's band comes by, and he's like, what up, man? I'm like, what's good, dude? And he's like, I didn't know you'd be here. I was like, man, Rob's the homie. You knew I'd be here. And he's like, come on, get in here. So I was already back there and had like a few drinks, and then I'm now, like, the person introduces me to Rob again, and he's like, oh, good to meet you. And the brother walks back over, and he goes, I don't know you, do I? I was like, no.
Did he ever say who he thought you were?
No, we just were kind of laughing about it. He was like, you played it off cold. I was like, well, I figured I was already close enough.
Right.
And you know me, like, right, I had been drinking wine already. So just, it was natural. I was like, yeah, come on, man. You know Rob's the homie. Like, dapped him up. He's like, get in here. And I'm like, all right.
I think if you could pull that off, I'm always down with that. And we've told this before, but years ago, we interviewed Zach Wilde, right, from Ozzy's guitar player from years back. He shows up.
Black Label Society.
Shows up with two handlers, which is not uncommon for any of these guys when you're on his level. And the two handlers, cool dudes, man. They were very kind. They were very cordial. They kept their mouths shut, but they were in the studio for
during the entire show.
And keep in mind, right, it wasn't like an interview. He, quote unquote, took over the show for the 4 hours we're on. Actually, until he got drunk and passed out in the kitchen. But for about 3 hours, and they're there the whole time. And so the idea is at the end of our show / this interview, we all go to El Corazon, and he is going to sign autographs on whatever it is you bring. It's the whole plane. It'll be there for an hour or something like that, whatever. So Keep in mind, he has gotten drunk. He's going through some personal stuff at this time. So he has cried. He is now passed out, and he is dead weight in the kitchen. And we're like, oh, man. So we're all trying to figure out what to do with it. So we approach the handlers like, hey, guys, what do you want us to do about this? And they'd come clean. They're like, bro, we had never met him before today. We heard he's going to be in town. He invited us into the elevator with him. And we've just been hanging out. So wait a minute.
This is awesome.
You guys don't work with... They're like, no, we're just fans.
It's right. So I knew.
Oh, you did know?
Yeah. Because like the first commercial break, you guys got to smoke, and we're like, who are you guys? And they're like, dude, he was struggling to get in. We just came up here to make sure we...
Oh, I had no idea the whole time.
Got to meet him. Yeah. So they like basically helped get him up there.
Because he was already hammered.
Right. And then they were just hanging out, but that interview was already going so crazy. Like, then I'm like, man... You can hang out.
They were really nice guys, man.
And they didn't say a word. Most people can't fight the urge to start talking on the mic.
Zach Wild walks in with what you would consider a larger duffel bag gym bag.
All right.
So it's a big ass canvas. It's not just a small gym bag that you would take to the gym because you could put your clothes.
Yeah, it looks like you put a rifle in this.
This is a sizable army-sized gym bag.
I was going to say like a rucksack or something.
The entire thing was filled with Long Hammer IPAs. It was just like this clanking bag as he walked in. And every time he finished a beer, he'd reach in, pull one out, pop it with his ring, and go, he'd kiss the top and go, love you, brother. And then give you another beer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Zach Wild... And I don't know if he drinks anymore or whatever, but like I always say that. People are like, oh man, you like drinking, like, beers never get me drunk. I got to do shots. I'm like, trust me, you can get plenty drunk just on beer.
On IPAs. I mean, these were strong IPAs.
And we just watched them descend into unconsciousness.
What did you lie about yourself or who you are, or who are you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Michael. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bicho.
Hola.
First time caller. God bless you guys. Been listening since, Jesus, for as long as I can remember.
Okay, man. Thanks.
No, thank you guys. God bless you. So I got out of the military, went and just traveled out of a back trial. I'll try and condense the story because I know you guys got stuff to do. And yeah, so got out of the military, traveled a bunch, and then went and used my GI Bill. And I made a pact to myself that I'd be the biggest dirtbag, like the biggest dirtbag I possibly could when I was in school. So I did. And I was just blasted high out of my mind, like whiskey in the coffee cup, high out of my mind every single day, in between classes, just hitting that vape pen until I died. And people would ask you, like, so what is everybody, like, what's your story? Where you been? It's like, I'm nobody. I didn't want to represent the military. I didn't want to represent the infantry. I was just such a dirtbag. I was so blasted out of my mind the whole time. Like, I just did not want to represent my people.
I kind of respect that, though. Like, guys, don't take this wrong. I'm going to get really messed up for a couple of years, but I will disavow any knowledge that I have ever had anything to do with you.
Thanks, Thrill. God bless you, man. Seriously. I remember the day I found out, Thrill, that you weren't a big old fat guy. It blew my mind.
Wow. Made my day. He used to get that a lot early on. I haven't heard that as much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, apparently I have a fat man's voice because it's not like anyone ever said
a big fat man from Texas.
You're a big fat white dude from the South. I'm like so close, skinny black dude from the North, but you were right there.
You weren't even close.
Right there. Do I have a fat dude's voice?
Yeah.
So I do.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I never knew that, right? But people kept saying it, and then
I'm not going to lie. When I was a listener, I thought the exact same thing. I did.
Well, it's the thing. I listened to my voice, and you're just used to your own voice, but I'm like, that's the voice of a fat white dude. I never knew. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at least that's like the good side of it.
What do you mean?
Like, they're like, oh, man, you're not a giant fat guy or skinny black dude. As opposed to like, I thought you'd be taller. I thought you'd have hair.
I thought you were black.
Right. Right. Like, thought you'd be smaller. Like,
so yours is all insults.
Always. Always.
Sure. Thanks so much.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you. Like, what do you want me to say here?
Just me.
I thought you'd have hair and be smaller.
There was one that thought that I sounded like a surfer bum with long hair.
Huh.
Which couldn't be further from the truth.
You are definitely not.
You're
the
a bad
problem
surfer.
is, I know you, but I'm wondering if I would have, what I would imagine you looked like if I had not met you, but just heard you on the radio.
Sure.
Maybe you could be a little surferish.
Okay.
You're not like dude guy, but I'd be like, yeah, Southern California guy, San Diego.
Not quite full.
It's amazing though, when you go down to those areas. I don't know what it is about California, but the vocal range on people, everybody speaks with a higher voice. The guys have there's a higher pitch. There's no low register for the most part. It's all people and they're just normal conversations that I hear going on, but it's people who have a much higher pitch in their voice. Can't explain it, but it's only there. What did you lie about yourself or who you are, or who were you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, if I'm understanding this right, it says, I had a couple at breakfast think that I was Miles.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. What did you get out of it?
There was a black dude that you may have met him. I don't remember. I don't think I ever met the guy, but I get emails from him every once in a while, and he just said, look, I don't know you. You don't know me. But I keep walking into different bars, and people would yell thrill, and then people would start buying me shots and buying me beer. And I was like, well, good on you. And he's like, but I did not know who you were or anything about it. I finally started doing research. I figured it out. He's like, we look vaguely alike. I just said, bro, if you're black and you are like an Edom Claw, if they like the show, they're probably going to think you're me because he likes rock music, right? So he's like, I got the black leather jacket and all this. And I'm like, listen, if people are treating you well and they're going to buy you drinks and all this thing, I said, enjoy it. Just don't be a douchebag, right? And he's like, got it. Mm-hmm. So I think for like 2 years.
I think I did, right, because there was definitely a black dude I met at a show at El Corazon.
Right.
Again, obviously I know what you look like. But he's wearing like a KISW hat. So you know me, I can't help it.
Oh, of course.
So I'm like, Throw, what are you drinking? like, come on, I'm getting them. Right? And then I think it's in 2 minutes, he's like, all right, man, look, I get this all the time. Like, right? And I let him go through the whole 2-minute thing. Then I'm like, yeah, I know. I actually work on the men's room. I'm Ted. I'm just
messing with this.
Yeah, like, I'm messing with you.
What did you lie about yourself or who you are, or who were you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Shay. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, Petrolas.
Hola.
So, to contribute to you guys' question of the day, who have I been confused for? When I was 18 years old, I was living in the old Woodbrook Industrial Park before it turned into the Industrial Park. Well, one day I'm walking home from the corner store, and these couple teenagers, I don't know, probably 12, 13 years old, all girls. They come up to me and they just start screaming, oh my god, it's PewDiePie! I'm like, what? First, that was my first time ever hearing of PewDiePie in the first place. So I'm like, utterly confused. So I go home after all that, look him up, and I'm like, holy crap, I can see the resemblance.
Who is
I just got mistaken for a big YouTube celebrity.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's PewDiePie, right?
PewDiePie. PewDiePie. He's from Sweden, and if I'm not mistaken, he is still to this day like the richest YouTube streamer that there is out there. He's one of the biggest gameplay YouTubers. He did a lot of
he's a big gamer.
Right, did a lot of scary games, and there was a lot of jump scares in him. So he was filming his reactions and whatnot.
He's not an ugly guy. So
not a bad looking guy.
You probably do okay with the ladies.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, this is during the height of his popularity. I'm watching YouTube 24/7, 365 when I'm at home, man. I don't watch any other streaming service because I just don't find anything interesting on TV these days. And yeah, he's number 3 in the top 10 right now. I don't remember who is number 1 right now, but I know he has finally been surpassed.
That's the age group that knows.
No, yeah, absolutely, man.
My kids were on YouTube for the last 5 years of their, junior education.
That's all my kids watch.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I mean, that is it. They watch YouTube. I don't even think they're aware of other networks or other streaming services. It is all YouTube all the time.
I watched this guy when he got his start and kind of his earlier stuff, and it was hilarious. I actually did like watching him. Then it was a little bit more manufactured, and he started catering to a much younger audience than I was, so I kind of aged out of the videos that he was putting out.
Or you just got older.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like that guy said that he doesn't find anything interesting on TV.
Dude, you know how many, all the streaming services, all the channels.
We've never been in a greater time to have more options.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I'll pull it out during TV time, but there's a number they just put out. I mean, it's ridiculous. I want to say it's 100,000 shows you could watch.
Yeah, it's either you're not looking or you have no interest in anything. Because if you can think of it, there's a show about it.
What did you lie about yourself or who you are, or who were you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
We were talking last week to somebody, because we were in a barbecue place. Or no, it was Mike and I. We were talking about watching barbecue shows.
Yeah.
And people were like, I can't watch the one that I love, Barbecue Pitmasters.
Barbecue Pissmasters.
It's basically 45 minutes of them just talking with each other and like dry rubbing stuff and then putting it in a smoker for 8 hours. I love it. Right. And it's the same thing every time. Little sweet, little heat.
Right.
Like this and that. I mean, I can almost guarantee you how they're going to like dress the meat and what they're going to do to it. But yeah, there's a show for everybody.
No matter who you are, there is a show for you, for sure.
I'm a truck driver in Alaska. We got you.
Right. Think about that.
I drive on ice. It's different. We got you.
We got it. I'm a craftsman.
Ice road trucker?
I mine for gold.
Yeah.
We got you, man. I make moonshine. We've got you.
I work in a pawn shop, dude. It's not very... We got you.
We got you. We got a show for you. I really just like antiques. We've got you.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Right. So I mean, like, if you can name it, like, dude, there's a show of interest for you. I guarantee.
Pick a subject. There's a channel for you. If you like history, if you like science, if you like nature,
if you like science fiction. I mean, like, they break it down, man. Just saying.
It is.
There might be something on. That's all we're saying.
Well, I don't want to go on a tangent, but it's also like weird for us that younger people watch people game, right? On YouTube. Like it took me a while to get used to that. But also, how many shows have we all watched of just somebody walking around a city and eating?
Yeah. Right. Well, people make fun of it. Like, I can't believe the kids will watch someone else play games. I'm like, I watch sports.
Have you ever watched people play poker in Vegas? Yeah. You're watching someone else play a game.
You're just watching. And they're like, that's not even exciting.
Football? You're watching someone playing a game.
The Masters.
Just depends on what game do you like and what games do you enjoy.
That is it, man. The Puppy Bowl.
Chess.
They keep putting the Puppy Bowl on because people will literally watch cute animals kind of do nothing.
Did you guys watch that dog obstacle course on Monday night? It was on...
Was that a replay? They had one on Sunday, too.
It looked like they were in a sand kind of a track, right? Did you say the same one?
I don't know.
Mesmerizing.
Well, me and my buddy have gotten so deep into now, if it's late at night and we're drinking on the weekend, we will YouTube dog competitions and watch them.
Oh, wow, man.
It's hard to turn away.
And then there's just races. So there's corgi races, but they're not the fastest.
Right.
But the Jack Russell races, intense.
So Sunday there was the Masters was finishing at one point in time.
Yeah.
There's a pretty good NBA game on, I believe.
I think there was an IndyCar race on, and there was a dog competition.
And there was a dog competition. There's 3 screens.
And you went dog?
There's 3 screens in front of me. I could not help but just keep turning to the dogs. Now, golf is my favorite thing. You know, I love that sport. It's the biggest tournament.
Right.
It's the final round. And I'm watching this, I don't know, sheepdog probably. Just absolutely tear it up. I'm like, this guy's got it. This guy's got it. Because they're saying, like, by the times where he's at.
Oh, right.
The collies are good.
That's what it was. It was a border collie.
Yeah.
Ted knows his dogs.
Yeah. I mean, well, because we all watched the same one on Thanksgiving this year. Right? Because it came on after the football game. So, like, we didn't plan to, but everybody ended up watching the same competition.
I know. It's weird. Yeah. But a dog on TV, you'll watch it.
When did you lie about yourself or who you are, or who are you confused for? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Randall. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola,
Randy.
What's going on, guys?
All enjoying it, man. How are you, sir?
It's snowing over here in Olympia. So
good times.
That is wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. But my story is, when I was about 18, turning 19, I used to party at this house all the time. And when I first got there, for about 3 months, I'd say I was there, everyone believed that I was from Ireland because I'm assuming I have some sort of like anti-social anxiety thing. I just started speaking with an accent and just rolled with the lie.
For how long?
3 months.
3 months? We knew a guy who did it for a few years.
Did you ever get laid or anything?
Every time I went to the voice I used was Irish. Every time I went to the voice was an Irish accent.
You know, I want to give that a try sometime. Just be like, wow, really? You're from Ireland? I certainly am.
Sometimes I wonder when I go to an Irish pub, are they just putting that on, or are you really from Ireland? When you think to yourself, Ireland has the same population as the state of Indiana.
Right.
How many people from Indiana have you met? I'm just wondering. I don't think I met any. If I know,
what if they opened an Indiana bar?
I didn't. If I did,
with their Indiana whiskeys?
I didn't know.
Right.
I mean, I have a friend from Dublin.
Where did you meet?
Here, in Seattle.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm with you. Like, you're right. I don't think all of them do, but, like, pretty sure one of, like, Kells, there's a few of them, but, like, that family is Irish.
What about the Safari Bar at SeaTac Airport? They'll click
the
it.
Africa Bar?
Yeah, they... I'm like, that's authentic. That's
I think they closed
I
that
order
or
my
changed-
food.
I think they changed it. Yeah. Well,
Wow, she got my wing order right.
well, those beers are all like that. Serengeti. African Amber.
I'm like, this is authentic.
Oh, my God. There's a frickin'...
What they changed is now they actually have African food on that menu.
Right.
I know. That's like, maybe we should own up to the name.
I was like, this Redmond place when we moved here, they must have a lot of African heritage.
Right.
I can't figure out why this one beer company just leans on that.
Right, Serengeti.
Who Sucks Last coming up. You are listening to The Men's Room.